You collect this energetic garbage or baggage or whatever you want to say. It is about resolving it. So you can never change like what actually happened. When you actually like resolve it at a deeper energetic level, you do change its meaning.
So you're a quantum healer, correct? Can you kind of go into what that really means for people that are listening?
To make long story short, basically when I'm working with someone, I can tap into their energy field at a deeper level, and then I can see like the different energetic patterns that would, let's say, influence their reality or influence their life. So if I tap into someone and I'm like, oh, you tend to take on the burden of everyone around you, right? They don't necessarily need to tell me that. I'll just know because it's literally like an energy pattern.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not actually even just a subconscious thing. It's just an energy because everything's energy. So that's basically what I do.
That's really cool. So you coach people with this and you kind of help like really unfold what parts of them are like holding them back and things like that.
Exactly, right? So, because like a lot of the times, right, in life, we just assume that something's normal. So like we assume that, oh, okay, I kind of take on the burden of everyone around me. Oh, that's just a normal thing. That's just part of my personality. And they don't even like, we usually don't connect it to, oh, this is actually preventing me from going forward for my success or my relationships or whatever. We just go, no, this is just who I am and it's fine. And we don't actually deal with the things that are actually stopping us. We just try to like fix the, like the external stuff, like, oh, I need to find a different partner, or, oh, I need to find a different career. But like, if we don't fix the underlying energy, then we're going to get the same kind of experience.
What is like quantum leaping? Do you teach that too?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Explain that too.
I mean, a lot of people are going to explain it in a lot of different,
your way.
In a lot of different ways. Yeah. So for me, like at least my experience of it, it's, oh gosh, I'm going to go deep. Wait,
I love it.
How
go
deep?
How
deep can we go into this
please.
energy stuff?
Yeah, go as deep as you like.
Really?
Knows. I go so deep.
Oh, deep. Okay. Okay. Into this like quantum energy stuff and the multidimensional, all this stuff.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So
it's great.
Here we go. All right. So like your particular energy field, the energy that makes up you, like the patterns that I just talked about, that is what I would call your dimensional reality. So your dimensional reality is made up of all the different energetic patterns that are like, that make up who you are, that then create your external reality. So when you talk about quantum jumping, to me, that's when you literally shift into another dimensional reality, or you actually have a huge shift in your energetic identity. So that you literally start naturally just attracting different things in your external reality. And it happens kind of like all at once because you literally shifted your entire dimensional reality or your energetic identity into almost like someone else, but not really. It's more of just like, for me at least, it's more of just who you've always been, but you didn't know that you could be. Does that make sense?
100%.
Okay.
Because you're tapping into your like most true authentic self.
100%.
Or like your higher self too.
Yes.
And our whole purpose is to evolve to the higher version of
Yes.
ourselves.
Okay. Yes. 100%. Yeah. So it's you just quantum leaping into your highest version of self. That's really what it is.
And it's interesting too, because based off of everything's made up. I always say this to people when I'm first talking to them, because in case they like want to 100% like shut it down, I'm like, it's already scientifically proven that we're all made up of energy. Like that's already scientifically proven.
Yes.
So before you just shut this down, it's already proven. So it makes sense, that our energy and how we're showing up is going to affect our reality. Another thing I was going into, and I'm curious if you thought this the other day, I was like, because I've picked things up along my teachings of learning this stuff, is like, we're basically any trauma or past thing that's holding you back currently, you're like going along your life and you're kind of like picking up all these like memories and experiences and adding them to your energetic field. And then when you want to like recall on that memory, it's literally within your like energetic field. You're carrying it as like baggage. And then our job on this earth is to tap into those and feel them and release them. So totally. We can energetically.
Yes. 100%. And so what's really cool about that, what you just said, and you said it so well, I love that, is that, you collect this energetic garbage or baggage or whatever you want to say. And then it is about resolving it. So you can never change like what actually happened. But when you actually like resolve it at a deeper energetic level, you do change its meaning in terms of like what impact it had on you. So something super traumatic, instead of it being something that you need to avoid, something that you're constantly in resistance to as you live your life, it's something that actually gives you a greater and a deeper understanding of yourself at a deeper level. And it actually helps you evolve. So that's also why I say a lot of times the more challenges that you face, a lot of times the more actually ability you have to accelerate, because you can actually redefine any challenge at an energetic level to like come back to you and actually have you elevate even higher.
That's cool. That's cool.
You know, so yeah. So if you have a lot of trauma and baggage, guys, like good news is you can turn all of that into, you know, ways to accelerate. Yeah, exactly.
And another thing I was going to say too, as I've been doing a lot of like deeper inner work, is like what was interesting as a thought was, if you remember something, like if something really sticks out in your memory from like childhood, you're like, I don't know, but I like remember that clearly, that moment, that usually means it's there for a reason, right?
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, that's what's so interesting is like, and you might even notice this too on your journey, is like, as you elevate and as you just continue to heal, like random memories start showing up and you're like, whoa, I thought I forgot about that. I thought I got over that, you know? And then this is where you have to deal with all of your crap again, right? That you didn't process, that you shoved away in the back of your head. And like, you kind of have to relive or re-experience these things. Cause like the way I see it is like, you have like an energetic pattern that is the corn of like what creates the memories and the experiences, right? And so as you release that energetic pattern that created those experiences and those events, you then actually have to, unfortunately, almost re-experience in a way all of those things, like
from a new energetic perspective too, right?
Yes.
But like coming into it from a different perspective, right? Because if you're constantly trying to shove it down, like I can't look at it,
right? Exactly.
It's like being in a place of accepting and allowing it to come.
100%. Yes, exactly. But most of us, we just live in resistance to ourselves.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Not allowing.
Yes.
I got a huge one. The first person that I like listened to that taught me that was Teal Swan. I don't know if you've seen her on YouTube.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, she has like a YouTube video on like emotional release or something. And one time I had like this really like, I could feel that I was emotionally holding myself back from just achieving something in my career. And it kept coming up to me where I wanted to like play small. And so instead I watched that video already. So I'm like, I'm going to go do this release on this. And so I allowed the feeling to come up. I'm like, what is the feeling I feel right now? And I was like, you know, not feeling worthy, not smart enough, all these feelings. And then so you label them. And then I'm like, when was the last time I felt this way? And I'm like, okay, this moment was the last time I felt this. When was the first time I felt this? And you kind of allow yourself with zero judgment to allow it to come up.
Yes.
And be there with it, because we always want to reject it. But when you allow it to come up and you be there with it, that's when you can truly like evolve 100%. And expand.
Yes. Yeah. That's why like, okay, there's so many different ways people say it, right? People will say, like Rumi says, you know, the cure for the pain is through the pain. That's very, very true. Or also like acceptance, right, is the portal to evolution, which is also true. It's kind of the same thing, because sometimes, right, when you're in this process, like accepting feels painful.
Yes.
Like really painful. You're like, no, that's not right. No, it's their problem. It's not my problem.
Yes.
And it's like, oh gosh, you know?
Yes. I was thinking also, I love like you make these funny videos explaining how the universe works with you. And it's so like good to like kind of bring it back down to more like a simple way of learning about it. Because sometimes when you hear these things, and I remember when I was first getting into spirituality, it feels so complex and so hard to understand. So like, I love how you break it down more simply on these like funny videos. Just like, so I kind of want to dive into the way the universe will show up if you're coming from like a money, a lack of money. And that one you did on like, I want $1 million. And then the universe is like, well, are you someone that believes you can have $1 million?
Yes, exactly. Like, so this is what's so interesting and I see happen all the time, right? I've been there. We've all been there. Okay. Where it's like, oh, I really want that thing. If only I could just get that thing. But we never analyze like, okay, well, what state of being are we coming from? Like that or is actually motivating us to want that thing. Right. So if we want the thing from a place of, I need this thing to fill a lack within me, a lack of love, a lack of acceptance within me, or I need it in order to give me a certain sense of validation, then that thing, as you go for the thing, guess what else is going to magnify as you go for the thing? It's like all of the lack within you, all of the low self-worth within you. This is where when people do successfully sometimes manifest a lot of money, but they haven't resolved that deeper core energy, they end up, and I'm sure you've heard of this, right? People get very, very successful. They end up actually more depressed or like more unhappy because it just magnified the thing that like was actually driving them to that manifestation, right?
Yeah, and it's also like a moment of feeling like, oh shoot, if this doesn't make me happy, then
100%, right? Like 100%, like, right, where you get the thing and then it's like, oh wait, like this wasn't it.
Yeah.
But then now you have everything. So it's like, okay, well then what was I looking for? Because I have everything. So it's almost better, guys. Like it actually is almost better for you to not have the thing and hope the thing is going to give you what you want. It's almost better to be in that space because at least you have like a sense of hope that that thing's going to give you what you want versus like, wait, I have everything. It didn't give me what I want. Uh-oh. What do I do now?
There's so many like celebrities and successful people that go into depression because they realize that, right?
100%.
They achieve everything the whole world looks up to, and they're like, if the whole world's looking up to this, and I'm still sad, and there's nowhere else to go, then that's
oh my gosh, yes, yeah. It's actually, I don't think people realize that it's actually a really painful state of being for people, and it's not. You know, people go, oh, why are you so sad? Like you have everything. It's like actually, it's like probably one of the worst places to be.
It's the most like empty, lonely, and probably confusing place to be in, to be like, wow, the whole world would die to be in my position.
Exactly. And this is why your higher self might actually be protecting you from manifesting all the things, because it knows, hey, if I give you all the things right now, I give you the relationship, I give you the wealth, I give you everything, the success, the fame right now, and you have all of it, and you're still disconnected and you still don't feel whole, like you might actually end up destroying yourself. Like it'll actually be a really bad thing. So let me like withhold all this stuff from you, have you go on a search deep within your spirit and your soul to actually find who you are and find that connection within yourself so that when you get the things, they actually feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's so true. And that's like a place of like accepting and allowing the universe and realizing that the world is actually so beautiful. And it's, if you look at it from that perspective, it's like, it is a beautiful place. And if you just change and shift the way you look at things, like I talked to one of my friends today, she's like an influencer, and she's gotten all her successes just by kind of being more of like, I want it, but I'm kind of okay if I don't have it. Like she always creates peace with not having it still.
100%.
And I'm like, I love that you do that. It's so powerful.
It's so powerful. Yeah. I mean, that is kind of one of the hardest things when you are on this like success track is, well, then who am I? I mean, that's one of the things, right? Is who am I without this success? And we never ask that question. Like most people don't. They're just like, how do I get even more success? Instead of like, who am I without it? Right? Because if you think about it, like even just really realistic, I mean, maybe this isn't the most realistic, but let's just say, right? Like, the world collapses and you lose your home and you lose everything. Like if you're left with the question, who am I without this? Then that's not really a good space to be in because you don't have any control over any of that.
Yes,
really.
That's so
true.
Know? That's so true. Yeah. And then also sometimes you get, like, I noticed this with myself. I did this and I was like, I need to not do this so much, but you also get wrapped when you do attain something. It's hard for you not to like get your identity wrapped up into it and feel like your self-worth is because of that. It's like you have to feel worthy without it, because then it's like a feeling of like, I need this to all stay the same and this needs to be here, otherwise I'm not worthy.
100%. It's a scary place to be.
Yes.
It's a really scary place to be because like that I think is the state of depression, to be quite honest.
Yes.
Right? Is to be like, oh my gosh, who who am I? Like, what am I doing here? Right? Because like you can have two people in the same exact situation, circumstance. One person, right, is just completely at peace and connected with themselves, and they're having the time of their lives just sitting on their couch. And then another person in the same exact position, just like racked with fear and worry and doubt and, you know, anxiety, and like same people in the same situation, but it's that connection that's either there or it's not there that literally dictates your entire experience of reality.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true. I was going to say, what has been has there been a powerful experience you've had with maybe one of your clients that they came in with something and then they shifted it and then you saw like a powerful transformation? Is there any like cool stories about that?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, it's kind of interesting though, because a lot of people who just like take off, a lot of them, they don't need a lot of time with me. So I'll like hear from them, you know, a few months down the line, they're like, oh my God, all these things happened for me, Paget. Oh my God, I manifested all these things. And I'm like, oh, but you didn't actually get to tell me. But I'll tell you a couple of them.
That's kind of crazy. Why do you think that is?
I know why that is.
Oh, I would love to know.
I know why that is. Because it's what I talked about in the beginning, where when you're really healing at a really deep level, and you know this, right? The first part of this, and it's always this way, is you have to release all of your garbage. And that does not feel good. It's actually really, really uncomfortable and painful, and no one wants to go through it. They're like, yeah, I'm ready to release everything, until they're in it and they're like, oh my gosh, I have to see every single thing and experience everything that I do not like about myself, right?
Yeah.
And so when I work with someone, the first part of that is really taking out the garbage. And it's really, really difficult, and it does not feel good, right? And then they actually have to stabilize. Right. So once they release their garbage, they actually have to stabilize at a new frequency. And then once they stabilize, then it's like, oh, okay. And I can attract that. And I'm welcoming that. And I'm able to, you know, do that. But in the process of like destruction of their old identity, it feels like, at least within themselves, like everything is falling apart, you know? And so that's usually why it happens. Cause I usually have worked with people for about 3 months. A lot of the 3 months is them just clearing out all of the crap that's holding them back.
Wow.
Yeah. But one person, she came into working with me, and she was in this relationship that where she just wasn't treated that well. It wasn't anything bad, but she just wasn't treated at the level that she wanted to. Her work kind of felt like it wasn't horrible, but it just felt She just kind of felt like she was lacking that vibrancy and that purpose. And then we released a lot of her burden patterns, a lot of the lineage like patterns that you inherit, right?
Yes.
And as she did that, see, this is what I'm talking about. During the process, her relationship falls apart.
Wow.
Right. And so then she has to go through this massive breakup. She gets a new job. And then I hear from her like about 3 months later, and she's like, I met the man of my dreams. I'm engaged and I'm getting married. Right. And like, she sent me this picture, and it was so freaking beautiful, you know, and she finally manifested the actual relationship and the love that she really, really wanted.
Wow.
Another woman, 46, unemployed, felt like her life was over. We started working together, and then I started seeing some of the energy that she was holding on to, a lot of the guilt that held her back, a lot of the burden that held her back, a low self-worth, all of these things. And as she just released those things, within a matter of, I think, and she didn't think that she could ever get pregnant or she was ever going to find love.
Wow.
But within a matter of, I think it was like 6 months, she reconnects with this person. She gets pregnant. Wow. She gets like business opportunities out of nowhere. And she's like, oh my God, my whole entire life has changed. Oh my God, amazing. Thank you. I'm like, okay, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. But again, I'm not really doing that to them.
Yes.
I'm just helping them awaken to their own potential. That's literally what this whole game is. Just having you remember your own potential.
Yeah, you're just like a light guiding them to their own authentic selves and their true high potential.
100%.
And it makes total sense. Like if you're releasing this energy, because you are literally aligning with what your energy is. So if you're releasing these parts of you that is like baggage, it's like falling off, then you're literally switching your energy. So now you're aligning with those things, your dream partner, the things you've always dreamed of. It's like now you're allowing yourself to
actually elevate and match that thing and be able to like receive and hold that thing. Cause like, for instance, with love, people are like, when am I going to find my right person? You know? And then I'm like, your higher self already knows where your like love is. Okay. It already knows. It's keeping track of everything. It's connected to everything. There's like a huge spider web. It knows where he or she is. Yes. Right. It's just like, are you ready to actually meet that person? And it doesn't mean like you have to be perfect. No, but you just have to be energetically ready, because again, like with success, if you are not energetically ready to receive that kind of love that wants to come through you, you're going to sabotage it. And that would be crappy, right? Like we don't want to meet the love of our lives and then not be ready and then totally sabotage it and miss that opportunity.
So true.
We would never want that. So you are always going to receive what you're energetically ready to handle at a deep level. And when it comes to love, if you are not able to actually give yourself that true deep love, then you're not going to be able to actually receive it from someone else.
I want to see what you think about this. People that like constantly attract the same relationships, like they always attract cheaters.
Yes.
How do you look at that as a sign of what?
Yeah. I mean, so that's such a perfect pattern, right? Of like someone just attracting the same person over and over again. That would be a pattern. And then I would see that happen probably in their career, and they don't see it necessarily in that way. But the whole cheating thing, again, it's like, are you actually in the frequency, or are you connected to your frequency of true deserving, right, of that love? Because if you're not, then you are actually, this is how powerful you are. You are actually creating that experience through that other person.
Exactly.
Like literally that person could be a non-cheater, but if you run a certain frequency where it's like, I need to create a reason for me to feel like I'm not worthy, that person could end up cheating on you, even if they're like actually not really a cheater. I know that sounds crazy. More often than not, though, you end up just attracting a cheater. But, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You're creating, but it's an amazing thing because you're creating all of it.
And
right?
It's like, and then explain why that would happen, because that's right. The universe trying to show you what you're holding on to, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, man, it's hard because it varies from individual to individual. But let's say, so this is a pretty cliche one. Let's say, when you were growing up, you didn't get the kind of love and affection you would have wanted to from your father, or he wasn't very present. He was kind of absent, right? Then, but that's your safety place, right? That's your sense of security, is like, oh, I am always feeling like a little bit of this lack or this distance from this male figure in my life. Then you would just end up naturally, right? That's your natural frequency now. So you would naturally just end up being attracted to and attracting those kinds of people who would never be able to fulfill like that lack. Right. So that's just one kind of cliche example.
That's true.
There are so many other examples though, right?
Yes, that's true. It's like, and then it's like constantly showing you a mirror back to yourself of what you're holding on to.
100%.
It's like, and that's why I always ask, if I attract something into my life, like a certain type of person, I'll be like, what did I do to attract this person? Like I'll ask myself.
Right. Taking accountability.
Yes.
That's like everything though. That's everything.
It is. And it's fun to do. It's like you're putting all these clues together to evolve and become better.
Well, if you're someone who's as committed to being the best version of themselves like you, yes, it's fun to do.
I mean, yeah. There's times it's not. But you just try to look at it at a bright side. Sometimes it sucks.
No, totally. If you can have that attitude where it's like fun to be the investigator, how am I creating my reality? Then you're going to freaking fly. You know what I'm saying? But most people, they think that they are, and then like, sometimes they're not.
Yeah. But it's hard because there has been times where it hasn't been fun. I'm thinking about it, like certain situations that kept happening to me that haven't. And then I break down and then I go into victim mode. Like, why is this happening to me? And I have those moments.
Yeah.
And then you come back and you're like, okay, why is this happening to me?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
With the cheating thing, it's like there could be like a guy that doesn't usually cheat, like you said. But if you're showing up as like, I'm not worthy of your love, or I don't deserve, so all my exes cheat on me, I always have this happen, like you're kind of self-sabotaging yourself, and you're putting him into a space to be like, maybe next time he goes out and he meets someone that does feel deserving of his love, and then he's naturally drawn towards them. So it's like you're kind of like pushing people away or pushing people to look at you a certain way.
Exactly. That's 100% it. Like, yeah, like if you literally can't receive the love that someone's giving you, not at a mental level, not at an emotion, but like at a deeper energetic level, they're going to feel that. They're going to be like, there's something they're not connecting right. And then they meet someone else again who's like, oh, they're able to actually receive my affection. Oh, okay. Right. And they don't even know why they're doing it. And another thing I just want to say about this too is this is what's kind of interesting that gets brought up is in that scenario, for instance, actually, this is kind of really bizarre. But you can actually influence people with your frequency even more when the other person isn't strong in their identity. So like, let's say you get with a partner who's not very strong in their identity, right? And then you're running all these patterns of like cheat on, or like, you know, I get cheated on, or I get betrayed, or, you know, people don't treat me well and all that stuff. And that person doesn't have a strong energetic identity. That person is literally just going to mold to every single one of your patterns.
Yes.
And they won't even know why. It's because they're not actually strong enough in their core energetic identity.
Yeah, I've seen those types of people. You could tell they're like just like flowing into any type of way and like flowing with the wind.
Right,
like,
exactly. They're like, I don't even know why I did that. Like, you know, because they're just morphing to like whatever they're around.
Yeah, to also be accepted and not feeling love and not feeling and wanting to feel loved
100%.
from others.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. What are some signs that someone's scared of their own potential?
Oh, that's a good question. What are some signs that someone is scared of their own potential? I'm going to answer this broadly first, which is that everyone's scared of their own potential, right? That's what's holding us back. Like, so if you go really, 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 really deep, that is the number one fear that we have. And I'm going to go really deep with this for a second, because our greatest fear really is what I think Marianne Williamson said, that we are almost too powerful. And like, let's go even to higher levels of consciousness with this, right? That we are the creators of our reality, right? We created this experience here. We decided to show up and create this experience as humans from a limitless space. If we truly connected and remember just how limitless we are, imagine how scary that is, right? Like, imagine how scary that is to go, oh my gosh, in a way, none of this is real. I'm creating all of this. Is whoa, like this is actually kind of scary, right? And so actually, in order for you to be at these really, really high levels, because we're creating everything, you don't actually want to be at those high levels until you're ready, because then you are going to manifest like crazy, and you might manifest things sometimes that you're not ready to handle and that are going to be bad for you. But actually realizing your potential is the scariest thing that you can actually do in life. It's literally you cutting through the illusion of this matrix, cutting through the illusion of this reality to realize that none of it is as real as you thought it is. And that actually comes with a lot of other emotions that as humans is really hard to deal with. Like, oh my gosh, this life is so precious and we only have a certain amount of time here. How much do we really tap into that on an everyday? We don't. It's scary.
Yes.
We try to avoid that at all costs. Like, no, let me just focus on my success. Let me just focus on this, right? But like, if you're really at that higher space where you know your full power, you know your full potential, you can see and appreciate life from the proper perspective, which is that it's precious, it's a gift, right? But then from that space, it's also really sad, because then you're like, oh shoot, none of this lasts.
Yes.
Does that make
100%.
sense?
I was going to say that was so beautifully like spoken. And another thing that I was thinking too is like, we're scared to reach our full potential, usually out of fear because we don't want to like lose certain people in our lives, and we're trying to find love, and so we don't feel love within ourselves, so we're like, I need this person to love me, or this, you're seeking outside of yourself, so like it makes sense to be fearful of your own potential because of what you're gonna have to give up.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like give up. That's actually one of the first things that has to go. Like a lot of the people around you are going to have to change or literally leave your life. That is actually really scary. So that is actually one of the first illusions that you have to see through, which is like, oh, they left my life and I thought I needed them, but I actually don't. I thought they served that purpose, but I actually am strong enough to handle it. Right. But most of us don't know that there's the other side of that illusion, which is, whoa, I actually am powerful enough to deal with this. Whoa, I actually am strong enough. Whoa, I actually didn't need that kind of support that I thought I needed. That's the first like illusion that most people have to go through in order to break through to success that they want. And then right from that place, it's like, oh, I have to let go of that. Well, I have to let go of like at the higher levels, what did I think life actually meant to me, right? What did I think relationships meant to me? What did I think success meant to me? You actually have to let go. It's like, I guess you can say it's like an ego
death.
Yeah.
Yes. I was also going to ask you this too, because it was something me and my sister thought about, because when I first started learning about this stuff, I think I was like 21. And so I got super into it, going full force. I did like a 10-day meditation where I didn't speak, write, or talk to anyone.
At 21?
Like 22 or 23,
gosh,
yes.
wow.
And so I got very spiritual. But we got to a place in our lives where like we got so addicted to like self-healing. And I think when you're very into spirituality, you teach it, you almost do become that, right?
Yes.
You're always trying to like find things wrong with you to be better.
Yes.
And then you kind of be a little hard on yourself to
100%.
like get there quicker.
Yes.
So me and my sister noticed that after some years of constantly working on evolving, we're like, am I ever just going to accept me and not think that there's something wrong with me? So then I was going to ask you that too. Is like, one thing we realized is that we always thought there was some like end goal that we were going to feel so amazing. But then we realized like, oh, I think life is just always evolving in
100%.
different levels of your life and will unfold different parts of you.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like you started when you were really young, so props to you for that. I did not. Yeah, like, so in the beginning it is, right? Because, and I say this is like, what has gotten you to this point is not going to get you to that point, right? So like, let's say you actually need a little bit of that discontentment to get you to this point. You need to like that fire in you to go like, this is not right. This is not work. Cause like, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't actually be doing what I do.
Yes.
And so you need that fire of like, oh, this is not right. I'm not good enough. Like what? I need to figure this out. Oh, I need to release whatever, and I need to heal. But then if you want to go to the next level or the highest levels, it's going to be different. Like you don't need that energy. You actually have to let go of that paradigm and that energy, right? In order for you to surrender into something bigger. So there are actually different stages to, I think, the healing process.
Oh, that's interesting.
That we all kind of have to go through. And I think the thing that I keep on saying, what has gotten you here isn't necessarily going to get you there. Right?
That's powerful. Yeah. And I have learned that too, because I've had to like kind of switch up the things I do.
Exactly.
Like I kind of talked about this on a previous episode, but I've been starting to do the EMDR therapy, the tapping, and that's helped me release a lot of stuff. But I never did it before, and I released stuff. So it's like kind of also evolving with certain things that are going to help you for your next
100%. Yes, 100%.
When did you get into this quantum stuff? Like what led you down this and started to, even you realizing that you can tap into people's energies? Like how did you get here?
Oh man, I can't even make sense of it. So, like everything, it was born out of frustration. It was born out of like, I'm never going to get anywhere. I've been struggling for 10 plus years. I don't know who I am. I don't know what my potential is. I don't know how to get there, even though I'm working really hard. I'm talented. I know I can do these things. Why am I not attracting certain things? And then it was from that space that I was doing a lot of other, healing modalities and like manifestation and all that. It wasn't quite working for me. So I was actually super frustrated. And I got to this point where I'm like, okay, I actually asked the universe, which is kind of funny that I do those universe reels. I'm like, what is it? Like, what is it? Right? Because I see someone who looks like me, who's doing the same things, actually maybe doing a little less, right? They're just as talented, all that stuff. They're attracting different results. I'm like attracting nothing. And I had to really ask that question. Is it really their subconscious programming? Because they ain't doing that. Is it really their mindset? Because I don't know what they're doing with that, right? What is that? What is that like? What is that energy, or what is that thing that like distinguishes one person from attracting things and another person, same qualifications, not attracting it? And so as I just kept asking myself this question and really sitting with it, I'm like, oh, there's probably a deeper energy here that's going on, right? That dictates everything. That dictates what you manifest when you're not trying to manifest. That dictates what you manifest when you're not even thinking, or you're sleeping, right? And so I just kept on pursuing that question. And then I was like shown by the universe or my higher self, it was more of a download. It was more of an energetic download. I was shown like, oh, there's that interesting pattern that you have that keeps showing up over and over, right? And I would use like, it was partially me using triggers also to go, why am I triggered by that thing?
Yes.
Why should I be triggered? Because it's clearly reflecting something in me that is not right, that is not clear,
yes.
right? Because if an ant did that to me, would I care? Probably not,
yes.
right? Unless I have some big issues. So I really had to take accountability. And then it's funny because like through this process of me growing and me understanding how the universe works, like naturally, kind of organically, I started posting on Instagram, the universe reel, right?
Wow.
And then that went viral out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I don't really know what this is about. Cool. People started messaging me to be coached. And I didn't even say I was a coach. Like on my profile, I was like an actor. So I'm like, wait, you want me to coach you on acting? And they were like, no. I want you to coach me on life. And I'm like, okay, universe, I'll say yes. And then so I just started coaching people. And I didn't even say I was a coach. So I'm like, I mean, they know what they're getting into, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And I started coaching people. It started going really well. And then after like about the, 20th, 30th session or so with people, I started just seeing things in them. So I wasn't really actually doing anything to get my abilities, if that makes sense. But again, as you just evolve to your purest self, all of your gifts come through, right?
Yes.
All of the inspiration, all of your ideas come through that'll make you successful. All of that will come through. And so that's what I see it as, is like I always had these abilities. And by the way, everyone does, but they just were able to come through me now. As I said, yes, I'm going to take the next step. I'm become a better version of myself. The gifts just came through. And I just started seeing things in people, and it just started to evolve naturally.
Those things that we truly want, that feel like you would do it for free. It doesn't matter if you had money. It's just like so something that's like a passion purpose. But then like growing up, my dad always told me like, you have to work really hard. And like, he didn't fully go after his purpose and passion. So then I always was like, okay, this is the safe route. And then I did that to like grow my successes, is like work really hard, achieve. And like, I'm so grateful for everything I achieve. But I always know at some point I want to evolve and do like my true like purpose. So how do you take something that like feels like scary and bring that into your life because when you instill like the safer route all the time, it just feels easier to neglect that and do this because it's the safer route. You know what I mean? And put it on the back burner, not make it as important.
Yeah. So like I said before, like you are going to feel compelled to the timeline that you're energetically matched for. So like, let's say for you, it was, okay, I took the safer route, right? But then I energetically upgraded through that. I mean, you're healing from a very young age, right? And so at some point it's like, oh, now I can take the leap. Like, I know I can take the leap, right? And I was just kind of using like the time when I was doing the safe thing and all of that stuff to actually just heal and get myself energetically aligned to the higher version of myself. And then I feel like you kind of know, right, when you're meant to take that leap. It's something that gets guided by something at a deeper level, right? I'm sure you've been there where you're like, oh shoot, I have to do this. I don't even know why I have to do it. I don't even care if it's successful. I don't care. I just have to do it, right? That's your higher guidance system. But that isn't to discredit like the fact that you had the other passions that you were into, because exploring those other things probably play a very critical role in ultimately what you're going to do.
Exactly.
Right. Agree. So they played a role. Like everything though plays a role. I think the biggest thing to keep in mind if you're like confused about like, when do I take the leap? When do I do this? All of that stuff like I said, even in my story and like even the people that I work with, that stuff just kind of figures itself out in the natural best order for you when you just focus on becoming the highest version of yourself, when you just focus on connecting to your higher self and your higher potential. Your spirit's not stupid. Like it's working on your behalf. Like it knows, you know, all the different potentials out there. It's just like, ooh, are you ready for that? Right? Oh, you're ready for it. Okay. So we're going to put this inspiration to your head now. Okay. And get you the motivation. Okay. Now go, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. So it's almost like trusting. And I do try to come from that place too. Cause I 100% agree. Like all of this is aligned to like all lead towards something. And like we have to trust that everything we've done. And I've seen it in my own life. I'm like, wow, if I didn't do that thing with that job and work with that person, I would have never been able to take on this opportunity.
Exactly.
So yeah, just trusting that you're on the right path as long as you're choosing to constantly evolve and work on yourself.
100%. That's literally like, just to make it simple, that's literally all you actually have to do. If you're in a job that you hate, resolve within yourself the reason why you attracted and hate that job. Then all of a sudden what happens is, you know, this happens a lot with people I work with. They're like, I hate my job. I want to get out of it. Right. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, well, what other job is out there for me? Like, I think it's that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, so you have this pattern, this is going on and you need to release that, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then once they actually evolve and they elevate, they're like, you know, I don't really hate my job anymore. I don't actually hate it as much as I thought I did. Oh, and then I just got a promotion, or, oh, and then I now see another opportunity for me. Oh, right. Like you are given everything in your reality right now, your job, your relationships, your circumstances, all of it. So to be able to elevate to the next level, you have it all with you right now. Your current reality gives you all the tools you need to be able to welcome in the next level of reality.
That's so powerful.
It's just, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, rather than sticking in this place and talking about all the things that are bad, it's just like you're kind of circling in that energy and just staying stuck.
Yeah, but what if you actually looked at like all the dissatisfaction like as just an opportunity for you to, like, oh, that's some energy I need to release actually, right? Like if you even look at like, I don't want to bring in, because I know no one maybe wants to be a monk, but like, let's just use that as an example. They like might sit around all day, or like, I don't actually know what they do, but, but you know what I mean? They don't live like the high flying, you know, like externally exciting lifestyle, but they're content within themselves, right? They've gotten to a level where they're actually incredibly, hopefully, euphoric and content wherever they are. If you could get to that state in whatever discontented situation or circumstance you're in right now, I guarantee you, some point soon, you're going to be given an opportunity to welcome in something higher.
Exactly. It's like finding the beauty in your current situation and accepting it and being grateful opens up so much more. Another thing I was thinking about too, which I thought was interesting, because for people that can watch maybe people in their lives, it's like, if you're just like talking about all the negatives about your current circumstances and making excuses, a lot of that leads to people like, you know, smoking weed to like cover up that, or like 100%. Drinking a lot, or like going out and partying, or going to externals and like using things to cover up the fact that they aren't happy, and kind of staying in the same situation. And some people spend their whole lives that way. And it's really sad to see. And I think the more you evolve, it's very clear to see when someone's doing that. It's 100%. Like you could be like,
yeah, it's basically just, you know, I was talking to my husband about this the other day, because we all do it. We're all human, right? We look for ways to distract from what's actually going on.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you know, what if we just got a different house? Right? Or, oh, like, what if I just did that? Or what if the new Netflix show, which I like Netflix, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like we just are constantly, like life, if you really break it down and you really look at your life, most of it is spent in trying to distract ourselves from something, right? And literally just from even being able to just be. Like I challenge everyone, right, to just be able to just be, not do anything, not for any purpose. Don't meditate to try to ascend. Don't do anything. Just literally just be, and see how you can get on for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? See what you're trying to avoid. Like, what are you trying to avoid in just being? Because there's some sort of answer in that.
That's so powerful. Like it's uncomfortable for people to run.
It's so uncomfortable.
To distract, to put the TV on,
it's so uncomfortable.
To text someone, to hang out with someone. It's scary.
It is. Right? It's so simple, but it is, right? Like I mean, it's so hard. It is actually hard to do because we're just not used to being with ourselves now. That's why it's so hard to, actually, we have more opportunity to evolve more than ever right now, but it's also really hard.
Exactly. And that's why they say, now I'm thinking about how powerful journaling is, because like sometimes you don't know what you're going to say, but it like helps you get it out of you. If you're just being and you're like, what am I running from? And you just randomly write that.
Yes.
And then you just kind of just be like, well, I feel this level. And you kind of don't judge what you're going to say.
Exactly.
And that's like the power of just like completely like non-judgment, just letting things come out however they're supposed to come out.
Exactly. I love that too. Like, especially in the beginning, I would just like journal like ugly things, weird things, random things, right? And I was like, whoa, I didn't know all that was in me.
Yeah. Sometimes you could be like very surprised by the things that you've said. Like,
Yes.
and you can learn so much from
Yes.
yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Like sometimes I've said stuff, I'm like, wow, I really needed to hear that.
Why do you think I started doing the universe reels? Like, think about it.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like reminding you about the way that the universe works. Yeah, I feel like anyone listening needs to watch her universe reels because it's like it's just like so well spoken on like how it's actually pretty simple how it all works. And you kind of break it down very simply.
In the beginning, it was me having realizations and be like, oh, I need to write that down into universe reel. And then like, as I started coaching more and more people, then it started being like, oh, I noticed that in someone and I noticed that in someone. Oh, okay, I can talk about that. But it was usually just because of something that just came through me, or it was something that I was experiencing in my life.
That's powerful. That's like your higher self too, giving you these
That's what I'm like, right?
intuitions to do certain things or make certain things. Or sometimes you can pray like what's gonna help people the most. Like I try to do that with my podcast always, like before I get on, when someone is like, help me ask the right things or speak about the right things that are gonna help the most people. And then your higher self really will just like,
oh yeah, right?
you know?
But like not all of us have that trust to just go, higher self, help me.
Yeah.
Lead me.
Yeah. So it was so nice talking to you. Can you tell people about where they can find you and your coaching and all those types of things?
Yeah, so they can just go to my Instagram, PAGET KAGY, right? And they'll just see the link on my profile with all the things, the one-on-one healing and coaching, and then also the activation programs that I have going on.
So cool. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on. This
you.
was so fun.
It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.